Guys, you're working on legit everything today. I'm with massive tits. How you doing?
Alright, thanks.
Where have your tits gone?
Where have they gone?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because I can't see them.
I need a bit of black. I need that black all up inside my veins.
Now, to understand how this whole thing started, you gotta go back to when KSI was still basically a kid. 19 years old, blowing up off FIFA videos, already past 1 million subs, which back then was a massive deal. Razor's inviting him to industry events. Word is Microsoft sniffing around too, trying to get in early on one of the fastest growing British creators on the platform. So when he shows up at the Eurogamer Expo in London with a camera, everybody figures it's just another convention vlog. Nobody's expecting it to turn into one of the biggest controversies of his career.
Oh, definitely chlamydia.
And that right there, that's the moment people point to when they say the questions stopped being about gaming and started being about something else entirely.
Guys, you're working on legit everything today. I'm with massive tits. How you doing?
Alright, thanks.
Where have your tits gone?
Where have they gone?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because
Then you've got the motorboating moment with a spokesmodel named Brandy Brewer, and this is where it gets messy. Because she actually came out on Twitter afterward and said she consented, said it was just a joke between them. That should have ended the conversation right there. It didn't, because once that clip started spreading, people weren't just reacting to that one moment anymore, they were reacting to everything around it. Some viewers said, fine, maybe it was playful between the two of them, but the way it was filmed and packaged still felt off. Others said the setting mattered, this was a public gaming event, staff working their actual jobs, not a comedy sketch. And that's the split that kept this thing alive online, way longer than a normal convention clip ever should have stayed relevant.
I'm out about you.
Yeah?
Good. Right now.
Yeah? How was that?
But here's the thing critics kept bringing up. Brandy Brewer said she was fine with it. Not everybody else in that video got a say.
Bring this up.
Pardon?
What? I'm being nice to you.
One woman reportedly just ended the interview mid-conversation and walked off, visibly uncomfortable. And that clip? It stayed on the channel as content for people to watch and laugh at. What made it worse, for a lot of people, was the timing. This wasn't some kid filming from his bedroom anymore. He had brand deals. He had a growing young audience. And according to critics, he used all of that to turn women just trying to do their jobs at a gaming convention into punchlines. The fallout came fast. Eurogamer straight up banned him from future events. Razer publicly cut ties. And Microsoft ended their partnership with him entirely, saying flat out his behavior didn't line up with what they stood for. Losing Microsoft at 19? That's not a slap on the wrist. That's a real career hit. KSI stayed quiet through all of it while his manager put out an apology, saying sexism wasn't something he supported and that content like that wouldn't happen again.
If that's misogyny #1. Actually, real quick, what the fuck is on my head? God, I was such a virgin. Funny thing is, I was actually a virgin at the time of this video.
Here's the part that's interesting though. He tried to explain what he was thinking back then by chalking it up to inexperience, basically saying he didn't get it because he hadn't been through much himself yet. And a lot of people online weren't buying that as the full explanation, because it kind of sidesteps the actual issue, how the women in that video might have felt in the moment. And instead of that being the end of it, this is where fans say things actually shifted into a whole new phase.
You're getting raped today. LOL.
After Eurogamer blew up, a lot of people assumed KSI would pull back. He didn't. According to a lot of the commentary that came later, he leaned further into that same energy, and it stopped looking like a one-time mistake and started looking like a whole style of content. He even branded it, turned it into a recurring bit fans nicknamed the R-Face, and for years, nobody really stepped in. YouTube didn't touch it, advertisers didn't touch it. The video just sat there. Then in 2015, a women's rights organization focused on ending violence against women publicly called the clips out, saying they normalized attitudes that make light of sexual violence. Once UK news outlets picked that story up, it stopped being internet drama and turned into something bigger, and that's when older videos of his started resurfacing.
The Casper? What's her name? Her name is Theodora. Theodora. Like Dora the Explorer. Kind of, except with Theo. Because I'm gonna explore her. She's gonna watch this and she's gonna be like, you know what? I need a bit of black. I need that black all up inside my veins.
Around this same period, another moment resurfaced. KSI making a comment about wanting to sleep with Zoella, sitting right next to her actual boyfriend at the time, Joe Sugg. And a lot of people looking back on it called it flat out awkward.
In one word.
Okay, one word. Describe my sister. How are you describing her? 3, 2, 1, go.
Bangable. Yo, that's a compliment though.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many guys who would destroy her. And then Alfie's the one allowing your sister just...
His team's response at the time was basically, look, he was young, he made mistakes, he's already apologized. But critics pushed back hard on that, pointing out that most of this material came out between 2012 and 2014, and by then he wasn't some clueless teenager, he was an adult with millions of subscribers and actual brand deals. So the argument became, did he really grow out of it on his own? Or did the pressure from women's groups and national media just make that kind of content harder to keep getting away with? Either way, that wasn't the last controversy waiting for him, because a few years later, a completely different storm was brewing. This time, it had nothing to do with content. It was about money.
He accidentally exposed the pump and dump crypto scams that he promoted. They've been hidden for 2 years, but only came out when KSI logged back into his old Twitter account, saying, does this still work? Now, if you didn't know, this is KSI's crypto account where he used to talk about crypto coins he liked. But he messed up because one investigator has been waiting for him to return to the scene of the crime. And that person is not me. It's Zach.
By 2021, crypto was everywhere on YouTube, and influencers were cashing in left and right promoting coins to their audience. KSI got in on it too. And, according to critics, what happened next is exactly the kind of pattern that gets investigators paying attention.
I don't really remember the details of every transaction I made. These were coins I put my own money in, thinking they would do well. I would listen to what people said on Twitter and just follow stuff. I invested in Doge, etc. I didn't have malicious intent in trying to scam. I was new to crypto, so I was excited, putting money in random things and trying to chase the pumps, and ultimately lost heavily. I hope people didn't take advice or tweets as gold, because looking back on my track record, I was effing dog shit. I wish I was an evil genius that would pump and dump at the right time, because then at least people would say that I had some wit about me. Reality is, I was just...
This is where Coffeezilla and Zach XBT come in two of the most respected names when it comes to exposing shady behavior in crypto. And what they dug up wasn't a one-off. Zach XBT laid out screenshots showing KSI publicly hyping up XCAD in March 2022, telling followers his bag was looking juicy, then dumping around $850,000 worth of it shortly after. Before that, back in March 2021, he tweeted he was bullish on Eternity Chain and within hours sold off roughly $350,000 in ERN. A third token got flagged too. Coffeezilla straight up called it textbook pump and dump behavior.
It's like Red Bull, but tastes nicer. It's like Monster, but tastes better. It's like, that's just it. And I'm not even trying to come at you like, yo, oh, I own Prime. Like, Prime is the best. Da, da, da. Like, this is just me being honest. Especially the American version. Because that's 200 mg. Like, that shit gets me hyped up, bro. That's the shit I need. Alright? In England, it's all 120, 130. Off, man. I need more milligrams. Give me the caffeine.
Critics weren't buying the I was just bad at crypto explanation, because when you've got hundreds of thousands of followers watching your every move, saying one thing publicly and doing the opposite privately doesn't really read as an accident, especially when it happened more than once. But crypto wasn't even KSI's biggest headache, because around the same time, the conversation shifted to Prime, the drink he built with Logan Paul. Prime launched back in 2022 as a hydration drink, marketed as the healthier option compared to regular soda. And with both of their audiences combined, it exploded almost instantly. Bottles selling out everywhere, getting resold online for way more than retail. But then Prime Energy hit shelves, and that's when things got a lot more complicated.
Then Harry, I'm not. Look, we need points in it, alright? I don't mean this maliciously, but The word. I'm sorry. We need point. I don't. Guys, come on. Can we have a backup? We have a backup. We'll have a backup one.
I don't think that's in the dictionary.
I'm looking. Simon, you wouldn't give points to racism, would you?
Pakistani is in the dictionary. Yeah, that is the start.
Come on, man.
Sadly,
no. Oh, it's just like a different.
As I said, if you can convince me it's a real word.
Oh my god! Go on then. Look, there's quite a few videos that you will follow.
JJ, stop digging.
No.
Stop. We're gonna.
Each can was packing 200 milligrams of caffeine, more than double a Red Bull, way more than a Monster, and critics immediately zeroed in on the fact that this was being marketed hard by two creators whose fanbase skewed young, some of them just kids. Then came reports of actual medical emergencies, including one young person in Wales reportedly suffering a cardiac arrest after drinking it. That was enough for schools across the UK, Canada, and Australia to start pulling Prime Energy off their campuses entirely. Still, by 2023, KSI's public image was somehow bouncing back 2 fights with Logan Paul, Platinum Records, Prime turning into a legit Empire-level brand, even reported talks with the BBC about his own show. The one moment during a Sidemen video was about to threaten all of that.
In a recent video, I used a racial term that is offensive to so many, especially in the South Asian community. There were no excuses for what I said, and I recognize I've caused a lot of hurt and disappointment to so many people that look up to me. And my ignorance has only reinforced the negative stereotypes that have existed for way too long in this country.
The backlash was immediate, and it wasn't small. Reports say the BBC pulled the plug on talks for his show, with some outlets describing internal crisis meetings happening behind the scenes. KSI stepped away from social media for a while, then visited both a mosque and a gurdwara, something a lot of people took as a genuine attempt to understand the weight of what he'd said. Not just do damage control.
Lunchable. With Lunchable, you get double the amount of liquid.
Prime has no sugar added, more electrolytes, and more B vitamins.
Crunch Bar.
Boo.
Feastables Crunch.
Yeah!
Our pizza uses real cheese. Theirs, as it says on their box, is mozzarella pasteurized prepared cheese product. They can't even call it real cheese. Ooh. We're also 30 less calories, 3 less grams of fat, and 8 less grams of sugar. Turkey Stack-em, 310 calories. 230 calories. 21 grams of sugar. Only 7 grams of sugar. If you look at this close up, you can already tell which one has better ingredients. All right, we'll start off with the Lunchables.
A lot of fans saw those visits as more than a PR move, like he was actually trying to sit with the harm, not just apologize and move on. But critics weren't fully convinced, pointing out that he grew up in the UK, went to school there, spent years in British media, meaning the history behind that word wasn't exactly something he could claim ignorance of. And people also questioned why the rest of the Sidemen just laughed in the moment instead of shutting it down. But if you thought that was the last time KSI would step into controversy with a product tied to young audiences, you'd be wrong. Because after everything with Prime, you'd expect him to play it safe with the next brand launch. Instead, he did the opposite. In September 2024, he linked up with Logan Paul and Mr. Beast to drop Lunchly, a meal kit built to go head-to-head with Lunchables. And almost immediately, it became one of the most roasted business moves of his career.
Watch where you're going. You watch where you're going. No, you watch where you're going. Ooh.
Whoa, watch where you're going. You watch where you're going. No, you watch where you're going. Whoa, watch where you're going. You watch where you're going.
Whoa. Watch where you're going. No, you watch where you're going. Ooh.
Each Lunchly pack came with a Prime drink, a Feastables chocolate bar, and a small portion of actual food pizza, a turkey stack, or nachos. Basically, 3 creators bundling their own existing brands together and calling it lunch.
We just got them from the store. This is used by December 8th, 2024, and today's date is October 16th. So these are supposed to be good for like another 2 months. This is molded. That's mold. This is not safe. Especially like kids that are so young, they may not know what mold looks like. So they might just eat it. I saw a picture circulating about mold, but I didn't know if it was fake or, I just had heard about it. But this is real, you guys. Epic ingredients.
The marketing leaned hard into positioning Lunchly as the healthier upgrade to Lunchables, a brand that had already taken heat over ingredient quality, including reports connecting some products to potential lead contamination. but the internet wasn't exactly lining up to praise them for it.
Promoted and made a whole video on Munch Pack, a monthly sub box full of food and candy to his Minecraft audience full of kids. Now what? At this point, his fans imploded.
Then came the moment that really lit the fuse, one tweet from Dan TDM. And you have to understand who Dan TDM actually is in this space. This is a guy who built a massive Minecraft-focused audience, kept a spotless reputation for over a decade, and almost never involves himself in drama. So when he speaks, people listen. On the 16th of September 2024, he came out and said he couldn't stay quiet anymore, accusing the trio of pushing a product for profit onto young viewers who trusted them. That tweet pulled in over 600,000 likes almost instantly, and a huge chunk of the internet sided with him on the spot. Logan Paul fired back first, pointing out Dan TDM had promoted his own subscription snack box, Munch Pack, to kids in the past, basically calling out the hypocrisy. Mr. Beast took the calmer route, laying out numbers, saying Lunchly had fewer calories and less sugar than Lunchables.
Always be on your side in anything you do. You expect family to always be, your number one priority. But with my brother, that's never ever been the case. My brother puts friends first. And the thing is, this isn't fake. I'm actually being genuine with you. He always puts friends first and then family, and it just doesn't make any sense. A lot of you guys, you probably already see this, that, he always puts friends first over family, and this has been going on for years. So a lot of you guys have been mentioning, because you showed his bank statement, he's pissed off. No, that's minor. That's minuscule. Let me give you an example, okay? He's completely blocked me on social media and texts everything. He's blocked me.
But then KSI responded, and this is the reply that ended up defining the whole controversy. He dug up an old clip of Dan TDM promoting Munch Pack, called him out publicly, and basically said, instead of crying about it online, the simple move is just don't buy the product. And that response is what really turned this from a business dispute into something people started reading as a bigger statement about influence, trust, and who actually gets to sell food to kids in the first place.
It was fake, motherfuckers! You mad? Huh? You mad, bro? You mad, sis?
With someone much more famous than yourself.
Nah, he didn't say that.
Nah, bro. It was meant to be fake, and then it got fucking real, bro. How we ruined it? How we fucking ruined the whole thing?
Bro, can you not tell it hurt? Listen to him.
This motherfucker, it was meant to be me and you, Ethan, and that was it.
The issue wasn't just the tone of KSI's response, even though the tone didn't help. It was that it kind of dodged Dan TDM's actual point. Nobody was saying creators shouldn't build businesses. The concern was wrapping a caffeine drink in a chocolate bar around a tiny portion of real food and marketing it to kids as a healthy lunch option. And when your whole brand runs on an audience that already trusts you, that's not a small detail to gloss over.
The news that has just been dropped, I didn't know that video was going out now, so I'm expecting a lot of people to just...
Now, here's where the story stops being about brands and business and gets a lot more personal, because KSI's beef with his own younger brother Deji turned into one of the messiest family disputes YouTube has ever seen play out in public.
A Harry Styles, in One Direction, or a Beyonce in Destiny's Child. You could argue I am that of the Sidemen.
Is anyone near? Speed walks down the road.
I say Speed as a person is more famous.
And I disagree.
No.
It's like, okay, who do you think is more famous? Me or Speed?
Speed, mate.
For years, these two got compared constantly, KSI blowing up first, Deji building his own channel while living under that shadow. Then, on Christmas Eve 2018, an argument at their family home reportedly escalated fast, with Deji asking KSI to leave and KSI allegedly threatening to smash his computer and break his door down. As the feud dragged on, Deji made some serious claims, saying his brother had pursued someone he had real feelings for, and that KSI never actually had his back, not privately with their parents, not publicly online. He also opened up about how much the whole situation affected his mental health during that period, including some really dark thoughts he was dealing with at the time, which is heavy to hear from anyone, let alone your own sibling, putting it out there publicly.
Movie with the chase scene, name any Disney movie right now. I'm gonna show y'all some real quick. The new boss.
This ain't even valuable. Lay up down, show my shit front floor.
KSI did respond publicly too, And honestly, both brothers just kept putting content out that revealed more and more of what should have probably stayed private. Instead of handling it away from cameras, it all became footage and fans ended up picking sides in a fight that was never supposed to be entertainment in the first place. And that right there feeds into a criticism that's followed KSI for years. The idea that he struggles to separate real personal conflict from content he can monetize. And that brings us to the Sidemen split, because if the Deji situation showed he'd let a family relationship play out in public, the Sidemen breakup showed he'd do it with a business partnership too. Here's the wild part. This apparently happened twice, once in 2017, then again years later. Back in August 2017, KSI posted that he was leaving the Sidemen, pointing to tension with member Ethan Payne, better known as Bazinga. That announcement sent shockwaves through UK YouTube at the time. The Sidemen were arguably the biggest creator collective in the country. Fans picked sides, diss tracks started dropping, and for months it looked like one of YouTube's biggest partnerships was actually falling apart for real. Then KSI came out and said the whole thing had been staged, a planned content moment meant to build tension that ended up spiraling past what was actually intended. And that landed rough with fans, because a lot of people had spent months genuinely emotionally invested picking sides, worrying the group might actually be done, only to find out later it had reportedly been engineered the whole time. That's the kind of reveal that breaks trust with an audience. But as bad as that felt in 2017, it's almost mild compared to what fans say went down years later. On the 31st of May 2026, KSI dropped a video called "I'm Leaving the Sidemen," and this time it wasn't staged. He called it the hardest video he'd ever had to make, said he'd gone back and forth on it for months, and made it clear nothing bad had happened between him and the group. He talked about burnout, about losing the balance in his own life, about needing more time for his family and his partner. On the surface, it read as honest and thoughtful, but what came right after is where things got complicated. Because the Sidemen's own statement made one thing pretty clear: this wasn't a planned handoff discussed with all 7 members. It caught them off guard too. And that stings differently when you remember. These were people he'd been creating with for over 13 years. People he called his second family in his own farewell video. But according to the group's public reaction, he announced his exit before giving them any real heads up, meaning they found out basically the same time the rest of us did. Then an old interview resurfaced, and it added a whole new layer to the story. In it, KSI compared himself to Harry Styles leaving One Direction, or Beyoncé leaving Destiny's Child, basically framing himself as the breakout star of the group. He also claimed he was pulling in more monthly views than the entire Sidemen combined, and said he wanted to chase bigger goals, even name-dropping wanting to surpass Mr. Beast in iShow speed. Once that clip started circulating next to the burnout explanation, people online started connecting dots, wondering if the real reason wasn't family time at all, but the idea that the group had become a ceiling he wanted to break through. KSI followed up with an Instagram post aimed at the remaining members, saying he knew they were grieving it in their own way, but adding, "You knew it was coming for a while." And that line didn't sit well with a lot of people, because it directly clashed with what the Sidemen themselves had already said publicly. Then, in October 2024, right in the middle of the Lunchley and Dan TDM fallout, KSI dropped a new song called "Thick of It." And the timing alone had people questioning whether this was strategic, because the track itself did not land the way he probably hoped. The reaction was brutal, almost instantly. TikTok and YouTube comment sections filled up with parody clips, reaction videos, and memes dragging the lyrics and the delivery. Instead of becoming a hit, "Thick of," it basically became a running joke online. And rather than taking the criticism on the chin, KSI framed the backlash as just haters engaging with the song, which a lot of critics said completely missed the point. This wasn't about old controversies. It was people reacting to the actual song. Things got even messier when his team reportedly filed copyright claims against creators making parody and reaction content using the track, leading to videos getting demonetized or pulled entirely, which only fed the narrative that he was trying to shut down the mockery instead of just letting it ride.